last night we got to words. I said one of the things we could do tomorrow is talk more specific about words and communication. Anytime we come together and talk marriage, there's several different ways to slice communication. This is just one little slice of communication that we're going to focus at in a short amount of time. Even the animal kingdom has communication issues, as you can see here. What's that? I can't hear you. Would you look at me when I'm talking to you? And no, I did not forget where the dishes go. So it is a very, very important topic. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a little principle, a little slice. Turn to page 30, and here it is, okay? It is this. It's going to sound simple, but it is very difficult to master. And if you master this little principle, your communication IQ is going to go way up. Here it is. Don't say everything you think. All right? Say it with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Don't say everything you think. Jim and I, we've told you that HomeWord is a nonprofit. We actually raise money to do the ministry that we do. And one of our donors, we were out to lunch with him, and he was telling us a marriage story that his wife came out, and she said she was wearing a new pair of pants, white. And she said, "How do you think these look?" And he said, "I just immediately thought," and he said, "I said what I thought. They don't make your butt look as big as it normally does." And he said, "Then I realized what I had said." And she said, "I'm going to give you a do-over." And he says, and he just panicked. He says, "Well, normally it looks big, but white," and he slept on the couch that night, all right? And so when I was writing my book, 7 Ways to Be Your Hero, I put that story in the book, and the publishers would not let me put it in because they didn't believe a guy could be so stupid. Okay, they said that is not a real story, but it is definitely real. But here's the reality. For many of us in here, we don't get do-overs. We say something, it comes out of our mouth, and it not only stings, but it also sticks, right? And I just need to let you know, I am on this journey with you, as if you couldn't tell already. I don't have it all together. My difficulty with this principle is I have a quick wit, I'm slightly sarcastic, and my self-control fiber is not very thick. All right, I've done a lot of research on self-control fibers. This is what yours looks like, and this is what mine looks like. All right? So I'm on this journey with you. Don't say everything you think. And really a good starting point for this is for us to just understand that this is going to be difficult for us to just admit that a lot of times I say things that are dumb, I say things that I shouldn't. After I say them, I see the wounding on my spouse's face. I wish I could take that back. We think that a lot of times our words are inspirational or coaching. Like maybe she really does need to hear that she picked up a few pounds over the holidays. And that will motivate her. No, here's the deal. We call it the HALT principle. You may have heard this before, that when you're hungry, H, when you're angry, A, when you're lonely, L, when you're tired, T, HALT. Those are times when you should not be talking, all right? As I mentioned, I'm on this journey with you, and I shared a little bit of my Diet Coke confession last night. Not too long ago, my wife comes home, and I'm sitting on the couch doing what the Lord would want me to do, watching SportsCenter, and I was tired after a long day at work, and she walks in, and she, real polite, she says, "Hey, babe, would you get your cup out of my car?" Because here's the deal, that the Diet Coke that the Lord wants me to drink has so much nutrition in it that if it stays if I don't fully finish it, the nutrients leak through the cup and then get into her car. And that has happened before, and she was so kind to say, "Would you please get it out of my car?" But I'm tired, I'm in the zone, and I don't want to. I mean, if I'm real honest, I don't want to. And I'm thinking here's what I thought to myself. Why couldn't you have just brought it in? Yeah, thank you. Okay, I appreciate that. Is it filled with lead, dynamites, rats? I mean, what? Why couldn't you bring it? And thankfully I didn't say that. But unfortunately, I didn't keep my mouth shut either. I said, couldn't you have just brought it in? And I didn't say it like, couldn't you have just brought it in? I didn't. It wasn't peppy. It was condescending. There was a little bit of a tone behind that. And as soon as I said it, here's what I did, gentlemen. I moved into fool status. Okay? Not my descriptor. I stole it from the Bible. Look what it says in Proverbs chapter 17. Even fools are thought to be wise when they keep silent. With their mouths shut, they seem intelligent. Okay? So this idea of don't say everything you think is very biblical, and it also assumes, ladies, that you're not rolling your eyes, that you're not showing this nonverbal communication, because we know that nonverbal communication is just, if not more powerful than verbal communication. It's our body language, it's the rolling of the head, and ladies, you're much better at communicating than guys are anyway. But you're masters at nonverbal communication because you practice it every time you see another woman, right? I have a great little cartoon here that you say hi, but look at all the thoughts that are going. Guys are very similar to this. Okay, here's how guys react to one another. Pretty similar. So whatever that nonverbal, you might actually keep your mouth shut, but you're still rolling your eyes, your body language, or that pierced lip, or whatever it is. That means controlling that too. And the writer of Proverbs has given us some straightforward relational wisdom in Proverbs 10:19. Too much talk leads to sin. Be sensible and keep your mouth shut. Proverbs 20. It is to a man's honor to avoid strife, but every what? Fool is quick to quarrel. So don't say everything you think. I've got a good buddy. He's got 5 children under the age of 11, all boys. And last summer, we pulled up next to them at a wedding. We were all going to a wedding. We see them get out of their van, and it's just fun. Like, it's fun to watch another family struggle. Okay, and to try to get 5 little boys ready for a wedding with like the Cheetos on their hands and them fighting each other and their shirts out and licking and sticking, and it's like then they get into the parking lot and they're like wild velociraptors, running all over the place, and there is just chaos, and Kathy and I just stood there and we thanked Jesus for birth control. And it was just a special moment. And in those moments when you're doing that, naturally, the anger begins to boil. And the wife, who's a saint, but here's what she says, just a statement of fact. I wish we had more time. It's like we talked about earlier this morning. I wish we had more time. And don't we all? I mean, I wish I'd won the lottery. I mean, there's a lot of things that I wish. I wish I had 5% body fat. I discovered the fountain of youth, whatever. But, she says that. And my buddy, who's very intelligent, he's got 2 masters and an MDiv. Okay? I mean, he's very, very smart. He doesn't keep his mouth shut. So when he said, and he's trying to, get this like 5 kids that are hopped up on candy crack, dressed and ready to go. And she says, I wish we had more time. He goes, I remember one of us wanting to leave the house earlier. Now, he could have said worse things. He could have said, you're ugly. He could have said, you remind me of your mother, whatever. He could have said worse things. But what happens when you and I make comments like that to our spouse? Now, if there is any degree of tension, and most marriages often have some degree of tension, it's like the slow gas leak is going on. And you make a comment like that, it's like, it's a flicking a little match right there, and that gas leak just goes, all right? And so if you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. Your needless, hurtful, damaging words, what it does, it creates additional defensiveness. That's just normal. When you feel attacked, you just strike, you get defensive. Second, it stirs anger. And the more angry you are, the less caring you're going to be in your communicating. Third, it communicates a lack of respect. That was a disrespectful statement to say, even if they were by herself, let alone in the company of others. Fourth, it induces shame. I mean, just think of each one of these as just another match thrown onto that slow gas leak. And it adds credibility to the already negative feelings that he or she has. That is so typical of you. Here's the bottom line. You don't win. You don't win. You lose in that moment, and you bring grief into your marriage. And our marriages don't need any more grief. Proverbs 21, watch your words and hold your tongue. You'll save yourself a lot of what? Grief. Okay, you save yourself a lot of grief by not saying everything you think. Now, some of you are thinking this. Well, Doug, what if there is something in my husband that needs to change? Or in my wife? How do I get my point across? How do I get my frustration across, my concern across? I can't be silent all the time. I mean, are you asking us to just be mute when we're frustrated? Of course not. Okay. Let's go back to my story with my friend and his 5 little terrorists. All right? Now, let's assume that within this marriage is now they're going to the wedding. They're spending the whole afternoon in the wedding. The issue behind all of this is time management, right? And with 5 little kids under the age of 11, I'm assuring this is a topic they talk about a lot. In my family, you know, when our kids were in the zone, I mean, we have 3 women in our family, my wife and 2 girls, and them just getting ready is a whole orchestration. I can be showered ready 5 minutes. And they say, no, I'm almost ready. I just need to put my, what? Makeup on. Which that's like a whole housing project in and of itself. You know, with the spackle and the paste and the tape and the drywall and, you know, the plaster. It's like a guy saying, oh, the game's almost over. There's only 2 minutes left, right? So anyway, my buddy might have had a perfectly valid point that needs to be discussed. But consider his options. 1, he could be a fool and make the throwaway comment that he did, and then spend the rest of that wedding time with a ticked-off wife. Or he can save that hurtful comment. He can go back to what we talked about Monday, what? Minimize it for the moment and allow them to experience the wedding together and then save that for another discussion at another time. Because what's the deeper principle? The deeper principle is that we need to figure out this time thing. Now, last night, Jim talked about him and Kathy having a business meeting. I teased Jim about that, just the title, like business meeting. That's Jim, if I go back home, I just went to a marriage conference, and, we need to have a business. It just doesn't sound very sexy, and so I've taken Jim's archaic business meeting terminology, and we call it the summit. And because Kathy's not here right now, you won't hear a groan from her, because she goes, why don't you just call it Monday? That's what it is. You just always have to title everything. It's Monday. Okay, every Monday, we have a summit. Okay? In the political season, I've been calling it a caucus, but she says that sounds inappropriate. So, but on we have a business meeting summit caucus Monday where we spend time, and here's what we do. We talk calendar, we talk finances, we talk about the little things that have kind of crept up throughout the week. And we also use that as a time for just some affirmation. This is not our date night. This is not our date time. It's just anywhere from 30 minutes to somewhere. Our kids were in high school, and they all had calendars. Sometimes it would take us an hour just to kind of get on the same page. But it's not a highly charged time. So we go back to Monday Minimize. When there are things that are frustrating me throughout the week, if you want, you can be mad 24/7, right? But we talk about frustration, okay, becomes contentment at some point, and then the marriage is in real trouble. So there will be times that something will come up, and I just think, save it to Monday. Bring it up on Monday. No reason getting into it right now. It can wait till Monday. We've been married 31 years. It can wait till Monday. You know what happens sometimes when we get to Monday? I've forgotten about it, right? Now, I could have lit a match on Thursday, but guess what? We get to Monday and I go, I can't even remember. Now, those of you who have already chastised me about how much Diet Coke I drink, you're thinking, you can't remember because of the aspartame, right? Again, don't send me your articles, all right? Now, so the idea with this is, yes, you want to talk about stuff, but save it for a time when it doesn't always have to turn into something bigger than it should be. So don't say everything you think is the communication principle this year. Give it a try. Chances are you won't hit 100%. And guys, when you actually don't say something that you were thinking, don't get so prideful because you'll get a look on your face like, I held it back. And then she's going to say, what? And you're going to say, well, what I was going to say was, okay? And if you do that, you would be a fool. Nicely done. I was thinking idiot, but you went biblical, so that's really good. So let me add one thing to this. One thing. Don't say everything you think unless it's positive. Remember last night we got to Wednesday, we talked about the power of words, and I oversimplified it by saying destructive marriages use bad words and healthy marriages use good words. Okay? Don't say everything you think unless it's positive. Another friend said, his wife said to him, honey, you would look so great if you could fit into that suit I bought you last year. And then his response was, that's mean. And what does she do? I wasn't trying to be mean. I was just saying you look so handsome. I don't know why you get all mad. Well, no, you were passive-aggressive, and that was a rude, nasty comment, okay? You're trying to couch it in beauty, but it still, smells like a pig, all right? Words of manipulation. Please hear this. Words of manipulation don't work long-term. They always tear down. Words of manipulation. Anything about any body part, the little skin flaps under her armpit, how his belly button used to be a circle, but now it's an oval. Or whatever, all of those things, they all tear away at your spouse's sense of worth, okay? Now, here's the deal. Some of you have a script in how you talk with one another that is so much a part of your script, you can't even hear it anymore. You can't hear that it's passive-aggressive. You can't hear that it's actually abusive. You can't hear that it's mean and demeaning. You are so used to the script of how you talk to one another that you actually need some outside intervention to just come in and say, you don't even hear that, all right? You can learn this muscle to don't say everything you think unless it's positive. Because I know I have a lot of men in here and I have to be concrete. Guys, here's what I'm talking about. Real specific. Comments like this. You are smoking. I could look at you all day. What a great idea. You have amazing insight. You have such strong wisdom that add to your decisions. All right? Being positive. Ladies, I love how you talk about our kids. You have such a beautiful heart. I am so grateful for you. You don't sweat as much as you used to. All right, so don't say everything you think unless it's positive. And I want to give you encouragement. If this is not, if words don't come out naturally, remember last night we talked about how if the words are coming out of your mouth, Jesus said they're an indication of what's cooking in your heart. And so some of us obviously have to draw closer to Jesus so he changes our heart, so our words will change. But you can also develop the muscle. If you grew up in an environment where words weren't spoken, you can begin to develop that muscle. And how you develop muscle is created by protein, right? And so, ladies, think of your husband as like this empty plate. Okay, he is an empty plate, and you give him words of affirmation, you give him positive words, you continue to, I'm looking for that plate, Seth. We're gonna, there it is. Okay, ladies, you look, yeah. Okay, this is what a guy needs, women. All right, they need those words of affirmation are like protein. The scriptures say this in Proverbs, wise words satisfy like a good meal. The right words bring satisfaction. So let me go real practical with you. I gave you space in your notebook to do that, so write this down. Let's go practical. Number one, if you think it, say it. If you think she looks pretty today, say it. You look beautiful, or you look handsome. I love how comfortable our home is. That was an amazing meal. I got to see you this morning. I just enjoy seeing you. Sweetheart, you put this toilet seat down in the middle of the night, and I praise God for you. You know, whatever it is. And, you know, Rosetta Stone has helping us learn multiple languages. Some of you need Rosetta Stone for encouragement, just to learn how to speak those words for encouragement. Again, what if I don't feel like saying it? Okay, then you say it anyway, right? You act your way into a feeling. What if he doesn't give it back to me? Well, the reality is he might be starving for it himself. Because I've never met anybody who's like, don't encourage me anymore, man. I have had it up to here. I can't take all that encouragement, okay? They might not have the emotional capacity because they have been starving for so long for your words of encouragement, all right? So, and for some of us in here, you do it for your spiritual growth as much as anything. They just have to become, if you're a follower of Jesus, you become a person who learns and chooses to use words that strengthen other people. That's power in words. Second, set yourself a reminder. Really, if this is so foreign to your marriage script, you may need to just put little alarms in your phone and trigger yourself to say something, to write something, to text something. All right? Third is text it when you think it. You know, last night we spent some time kind of bashing these as these become an intimacy barrier that we're on them all the time. But the positives of this is I can flirt with Kathy all day long, okay? And I do. I actually, you know, because this is like the 5th marriage weekend for us, this is not a getaway for us. Now, when we did this at the Montage a few weeks ago, she chose to go to that conference. But for some reason, I couldn't talk her into coming to L.A. No, one of our kids is having a baby shower, and so she chose that. I go, great. But I've been sending her texts, flirting with her all day, and I do that all the time. Because she does it. I'll say this while she's not here. One of the goals I have is to put something in a text that pops up on her screen that if she's with her friends or our children, it will embarrass her. Okay, that's kind of one of my, my goals. I want her to have to delete that, like, oh, okay. And so, whatever. Just communicate. This is such a simple medium to just send little love thoughts, notes, ideas throughout the day. Anybody in here use HeyTell? Anybody, this app, HeyTell? This is a great app. It's pretty male-friendly because it's like a walkie-talkie. So the orange button, it basically, you just open up the app, and I always keep it open on my phone, and I just push the orange button. Hey, babe, I was just thinking about you, walking into a meeting, wanted to let you know I love you. I had watermelon for lunch today, thought of you. Whatever, something like that. And I then take my finger off, and it sends it to her. And she'll see on her phone, a little app will light up, and she can press it and listen to it. Now, you hear that, and some of you are like, why don't you just call her? Because sometimes I don't want to talk to her, all right? Just being real, I don't, all right? I'm walking into a meeting, I don't have time, all right? But I want her to know that I've been thinking about her, all right? Now with the new iPhones, you can do that anyway. You don't need this app. It's just cool because it's got a big orange button. So I kind of like it. But anyway, it's just another way when you think it, you send it. And then lastly is just notes. When you think it, write it out. Guys, you can go to Target and for $9 buy a little box of 100 note cards, colored, nice, with envelopes. And you use those as little gifts, little treasures. I'm a words guy, okay? Not only a spoken words guy, I write a lot. My kids, they've all, been moved out of the house now. And when we helped them move out of the house, it was fascinating to me that they never told me this, but they had boxes, just like shoe boxes, of all the notes and cards and little 3x5 cards, things that I would just put on the mirror of thinking about you, praying for you, love you. We chase, let's go back to this morning, we chase the wrong things. We chase the wrong things and we don't have any time to cherish what's right in front of us. And so when you think it, you say it, you text it, you write it, if it's positive. Don't say everything you think unless it's positive. Now here's the big idea. Words are free. They are. Words are free, but they're so costly to a marriage when they're not used. I know you can do this. I know you can be more affirming. I know you don't have to move into fool category. Don't say everything you think unless it's positive. You got it? All right.